Avada Kedavra. Avada Kedavra. Yeah, the name alone sounds like it should come with a warning label. This is the big one, the death spell. No sparks, no dramatic explosions, just green light, and the other person drops like a puppet with its strings cut. That's it. No shield charm can stop it. No counter curse exists. The only real defense? Don't be standing in the way. Voldemort made this curse basically his signature move, like his deadly autograph across history. And yet, baby Harry, tiny, drooling Harry, managed to bounce it back and survive. Which is wild, because the entire point of this curse is that survival isn't an option. That's why it's forbidden. It's magic boiled down to raw killing power. Simple, final, and terrifying. Crucio. If Avada Kedavra is about ending life, Crucio is about stretching it out in the worst way possible. The Cruciatus curse doesn't kill. It makes you wish it did. Imagine every nerve in your body screaming at once, pain so sharp your brain can't process it. That's Crucio. Victims don't just suffer, they break. Neville Longbottom's parents were tortured with it until their minds shattered, leaving them shells of who they were. And that's exactly why it's unforgivable. It doesn't just attack your body, it erases your humanity. Death Eaters loved using it for fun, which tells you everything you need to know about them. One casting earns you a lifetime in Azkaban, because Crucio isn't about survival. It's about watching someone unravel. Imperio. Now, Imperio is sneaky. Unlike the other two, this one feels nice. You hear the words and suddenly everything is fine. Your fear? Gone. Your doubts? Gone. And then you're robbing a bank, betraying a friend, or walking into war with a smile on your face, because someone else is pulling the strings. That's the Imperious Curse. No screaming, no scars, just the theft of free will. Which is worse in some ways, because your choices aren't yours anymore. Voldemort's followers used it to turn loyal people into traitors, making it impossible to tell who was truly on your side. The only way out? An iron will strong enough to fight back. And let's be real, most people don't have that kind of mental armor. Horcrux creation. Horcruxes are the magical version of saying, I'd like to live forever, but at what cost? To make one, you have to split your soul by committing murder, then stuff the broken piece into an object, like a diary, a ring, or, in Voldemort's case, way too many random knickknacks. The result? You can't truly die until every Horcrux is destroyed. Sounds clever, right? Except the price is steep. Your soul becomes twisted, less human each time. That's why Voldemort ended up snake-faced and looking like he lost a fight with plastic surgery. Creating even one Horcrux is forbidden because it's not just cheating death, it's cheating your own humanity. Magic was never meant to carry something this ugly, and the proof is Voldemort's reflection. Mors Morte. Mors Morte is less about killing and more about branding, literally. It's the spell that shoots the dark mark into the sky, a glowing green skull with a snake slithering out of its mouth. Subtle? Not really. It was Voldemort's calling card, like spray painting your gang sign on the clouds after a crime. Death Eaters would leave it hovering above houses after murders, making the entire countryside live in dread. Imagine stepping outside and seeing that glowing above your street. Instant panic. The Ministry banned it because it wasn't just intimidation. It was terrorism in magical form. For the Death Eaters, though, casting Mors Morte was practically a badge of honor. For everyone else, it was a promise. Something terrible had already happened, or was about to. Human transmutation. Now, this one isn't from wizards, but from alchemists, and it's the ultimate. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. Human transmutation is the attempt to bring someone back from the dead by rearranging matter, turning theory into resurrection. In Full Metal Alchemist, the Elric brothers tried it to revive their mother, and the price was brutal. One lost his body, the other an arm and a leg. The lesson? You can't cheat the natural order without it clawing back. The idea comes from old European alchemy, where transmutation meant tinkering with life itself, something most texts declared forbidden. And morally, it's easy to see why. Messing with gold or metals is one thing. Messing with people? That's crossing a line even magic refuses to forgive. Balefire. Balefire comes from the Wheel of Time, and it's basically the nuclear option of magic. Cast it, and whatever it hits isn't just destroyed, it's erased from existence backwards through time. Imagine blasting someone and undoing everything they did minutes, maybe hours earlier. That sounds handy, until you realize how messy causality becomes. Kill a soldier, and suddenly their army never got orders. Kill a villain, and their crimes unravel. But so do the consequences that shape the present. It's forbidden in the series because it's too dangerous even for victory. Entire chunks of history can collapse from one reckless cast. Think of it as pressing Ctrl+Z on reality. And the scarier part? The stronger the fire, the further back it erases. That's rewriting destiny itself. Biblical necromancy ban. Long before fantasy novels, the Bible had something to say about forbidden magic, necromancy. In Deuteronomy 18, consulting the dead is straight up outlawed. Why? Because it's seen as tampering with divine authority, reaching for knowledge humans weren't meant to access. The famous example is the Witch of Endor in 1 Samuel, who summoned the prophet Samuel's spirit for King Saul. The result? Saul didn't get wisdom. He got doom foretold. The ban stuck because necromancy was linked to idolatry, foreign gods, and breaking the boundary between the living and the dead. In practice, ancient laws treated it as the ultimate act of defiance against heaven. And it's not just theology, it's fear. If the dead can be pulled back, what does that say about the living's place in creation? Ars Goetia. Cracking open the Ars Goetia is like browsing a very cursed phone book. This grimoire lists 72 demons, each with names, titles, and even sigils to summon them. Want wealth? Call on Bune. Knowledge? Try Paimon. Power? Well, there's a demon for that too. But here's the catch. Summoning isn't a casual coffee date. You're bargaining with entities known for twisting deals in their favor. That's why the church condemned demonology outright, because you're not just breaking rules, you're breaking allegiance with God. Pop culture ran with it. Paimon shows up in Hereditary, and dozens of games borrow the demons' names. Still, the original Goetia framed these spells as forbidden for good reason. It's not summoning power, it's handing your soul to the worst possible customer service. Shams al-Ma'arif rituals. The Shams al-Ma'arif isn't your average dusty manuscript. It's the book that turned medieval scholars into exorcists and skeptics into insomniacs. Written by al-Buni in the 1200s, it blended Quranic verses with symbols, astrology, and summoning jinn. Imagine mixing holy scripture with cheat codes for the spirit world. Clerics hated it. They called it cursed, banned it, and warned that anyone who read too far might never get rid of the guests they invited. Yet, copies survived, passed around in secret like magical contraband. Even today, you'll see warnings. Don't open it, don't chant from it, don't even bookmark it. Because this book doesn't just teach spells, it teaches how to get haunted on purpose. Necronomicon. The Necronomicon started as a prank by H.P. Lovecraft and became the most famous book that doesn't exist. In his stories, it was written by the mad Arab Abdul al-Hazred, filled with cosmic truths and rituals that shatter your sanity. Basically a library card to madness. Fans loved it so much that fake editions popped up, sitting on shelves right next to real grimoires. Some even swear it's authentic, which is probably exactly what Lovecraft would have wanted. What makes it terrifying isn't the monsters. It's the idea of knowledge too big for humans. You don't die because of a demon. You die because your brain can't handle the footnotes. A book that unravels you page by page. Brahmastra. The Brahmastra was the nuclear option of Hindu mythology. A divine weapon forged by Brahma, it never missed and couldn't be stopped. Once fired, it was game over. Lands burned, rivers dried, and people remembered the fallout for generations. Heroes like Arjuna and Ashwatthama could call it, but they knew better than to use it lightly. Teachers even refused to teach the chant, afraid their students might panic cast world destruction like it was a homework spell. The warning was clear. Great power doesn't just corrupt, it can scorch the earth. Think of it as a cosmic, "Are you sure?" button that no one should ever press. The Brahmastra wasn't just a weapon, it was a myth screaming, "Don't go too far." Blood resurrection. In Game of Thrones, Mirri Maz-Dur pulled off the kind of miracle that made everyone wish she hadn't. Khal Drogo was near death, and Daenerys begged her to save him. Mirri used blood magic, sacrificing a horse and chanting. But the catch was brutal. The ritual gave Drogo back his body but stripped his mind. He lived as an empty shell, worse than death. That's the twisted price of forbidden spells. You get what you ask for, but never how you want it. Miri even warned Daenerys, but desperation makes people deaf to fine print. In the end, Drogo's survival wasn't life at all. It was proof that blood can buy magic, but the interest rate is soul-crushing. Blood magic. In Dragon Age, blood magic is the boogeyman of Thedas. It's powerful, flexible, and banned everywhere, which basically guarantees people still try it. Instead of mana, it uses life itself, so every spell is powered by cuts, sacrifices, or straight-up murder. Need to summon a demon? Blood. Want to control someone's mind? Blood. Want to survive finals week? Don't try blood. The trick is, it's not evil on its own. It's just too tempting. Mages facing persecution see it as their only chance, while villains use it to enslave armies. The Chantry outlawed it for good reason. You can't wield it without hurting someone, usually yourself. In Thedas, blood magic isn't just dangerous, it's the fastest way to prove you're the problem. Necromancy. In The Witcher, necromancy isn't just creepy, it's outlawed for good reason. Sure, it lets you talk to the dead, but in practice, it's more like forcing a corpse to spit out secrets while it falls apart. The price? Pain for the spirit, corruption for the caster, and usually some horrific side effects crawling in afterward. Even sorceresses like Yennefer treat it as taboo, because once you start yanking souls around, you're not really in control anymore. Monsters notice, chaos notices, the universe itself notices. It's one of those spells where everyone asks, can we? And the answer should always be, we really, really shouldn't. In a world already crawling with ghouls, necromancy isn't help. It's gasoline on the graveyard. Edo Tensei. Edo Tensei in Naruto is what happens when necromancy meets science fair. The jutsu drags souls back, sticks them into fresh bodies, and boom! You've got undead fighters who don't bleed, don't tire, and don't quit. Sounds unstoppable, right? Except the cost is one living sacrifice per summon. That's not a resurrection. That's recycling with murder included. Orochimaru used it to drag back legendary Kage, and Kabuto went full overdrive, summoning an army of the dead. The real horror isn't the power, it's the lack of choice. Heroes, mentors, even family, reduced to tools. The only way to free them is letting their soul go, which is basically admitting you can't win. Edo Tensei isn't just forbidden, it's a war crime dressed as jutsu. Izanami. Izanami isn't flashy. No giant explosions, no laser beams. It's worse, it's a loop. The Uchiha designed it to trap an enemy in the same moment, again and again, until they accept reality. Imagine dying, reliving it, and realizing you'll never escape unless you give in. That's Izanami. It was made to punish those who abused Izanagi, the jutsu that rewrites fate itself. But here's the kicker. The caster loses their eye forever. Power traded for permanent blindness. The reason it's forbidden is simple. It doesn't kill you. It erases your will. You don't fight. You surrender. It's not victory in battle. It's domination of the mind. A prison where the bars aren't steel, they're your own memories. Izanagi. Izanagi is the Uchiha clan's ultimate get-out-of-death-free card. When cast, reality bends to the caster's will. Dying? Just erase that. Lost a limb? Rewrite it. Basically, it's Photoshop for fate. But here's the catch. You only get a short window to use it. And when it's done, the Sharingan eye that cast it turns blind forever. That price tag keeps it from being spammed. In battles, Izanagi means your enemy's best move suddenly never happened, which is as unfair as it sounds. But there's a reason it's forbidden. Reality loses all meaning if death isn't real. It's the kind of jutsu that wins fights, but destroys trust. After all, how do you duel someone who can edit the script? Necromancy. In World of Warcraft, necromancy isn't one creepy wizard. It's a whole business model. The Lich King industrialized it, turning graves into factories. One spell, and suddenly the skeleton of your childhood pet is filing into the army. The worst part? These undead don't just rise, they lose every shred of free will. Souls are chained, bodies twisted, and loyalty is forced. It's why necromancy in Azeroth isn't edgy. It's slavery with extra steps. Sure, it looks powerful, but every ghoul raised is another debt owed to death itself. And death doesn't do discounts. The living fear it, the dead hate it, and even villains admit it's a bad hobby to take up. Necromancy here isn't magic. It's mass production of nightmares. Shiki-Fujin. The Shiki-Fujin is less a jutsu and more a death pact. The caster summons the Shinigami, the god of death, who devours the target's soul. Sounds unstoppable, but there's a twist. The caster's soul gets sealed too. No heaven, no rebirth, just eternal tug-of-war inside the Shinigami's belly. Hiruzen Sarutobi used it against Orochimaru, sealing his arms forever. Minato used it to trap the Nine-Tails. It's the ultimate forbidden jutsu because it's absolute. You can win, but you're guaranteed to lose yourself in the process. No one comes out alive, not even the victor. In ninja terms, it's the nuclear button. Press it only when the world is ending. The Shiki-Fujin isn't just a seal, it's mutual annihilation signed in blood. Power word kill. In Dungeons & Dragons, most spells need dice rolls, saving throws, or luck. Power word kill laughs at all that. Say the word, and if your target has 100 hit points or less, they just die. No saving throw, no heroic last stand, just instant silence. It's why even high-level adventurers start sweating when a lich clears its throat. The spell is pure authority. The caster doesn't negotiate with physics, they command it. Dungeon masters love it, players hate it, and it's banned in most friendly campaigns because nothing ruins pizza night like your bard keeling over mid-song. Power word kill is forbidden not because it's complicated, but because it's too simple. One word, one death. End of discussion. Imperial torture spell. Some spells don't just kill you, they strip away you. The Imperial torture spell, found in darker fantasy systems, is basically weaponized suffering. It locks the victim in endless agony while draining their life force, turning pain into fuel for the caster. Essence drain magic shows up across myth and games. It's the idea of stealing someone's very soul energy to boost your own. In Elder Scrolls, soul trapping does this. In tabletop RPGs, it's the ultimate power shortcut. But the forbidden label sticks because it's the most intimate kind of cruelty, not just taking life, but stretching it out, savoring it. It's magic designed for sadists, which makes it worse than death. After all, killing someone ends them. Essence drain makes them your battery. Asmodeus. If you've heard of the Ars Goetia, you've probably stumbled across Asmodeus, the demon of lust, wrath, and, depending on the century, way too many gambling addictions. He's not just a name on a scary list. He's a king of hell, one of the big bosses magicians supposedly tried summoning. The grimoires promise power, knowledge, even control over people's desires if you dare to call on him. But here's the kicker. In every story, Asmodeus is cleverer than his summoner. Deals twist, promises rot, and sooner or later, you're the one on the leash. That's the real danger of Gothic magic. It's like playing poker with someone who stacked the deck centuries before you were born. Forbidden? Absolutely. Unless you enjoy losing your soul in style. Munich Manual of Demonic Magic. This one's not fantasy. It's a real book from the 1400s. The Munich Manual is basically the medieval version of How to Summon Demons for Dummies. Inside, instructions for necromancy, demon summoning, and even forcing spirits to fetch things. It's equal parts terrifying and weirdly practical. The church banned it instantly, branding it heresy, because nothing says bad idea like teaching bored monks how to raise skeleton armies. But the fact it exists shows how badly people wanted power, even if it meant bargaining with hell. Think of it like history's most cursed self-help book. Sure, you might get results, but you also might end up sharing a room with a demon for all eternity. Supreme Magus Lore. In Supreme Magus, forbidden isn't about being too strong. It's about being too cruel. These spells cross moral lines, draining life force, enslaving people, ripping out souls to make undead monsters. Take Essence Drain, for example. It turns living beings into batteries, juicing up the caster while leaving behind human husks. Or Greater Undead, where someone's identity is shredded just to make a weapon. That's why this kind of magic is off-limits. It's not the fireballs or lightning bolts that scare people. It's the stuff that twists life into fuel. Because once you start treating humans like resources, there's really no going back. It's the forbidden kind of power that doesn't just corrupt the world, it corrupts you. Forbidden spells in Witch Hat Atelier. Now for a softer-looking story with some very sharp edges. In Witch Hat Atelier, magic is drawn like art. Literally, sketches that turn real. But some drawings are so twisted, they're forbidden. Petrification, for instance, turning someone into stone. Not by mistake, but deliberately, as a weapon. Or the illusory labyrinth, which traps people inside endless shifting mazes until they break. These aren't just destructive. They rob people of choice, of freedom. That's why they're banned. What's clever here is the metaphor. The wrong drawing can ruin a life. It's not about being flashy or strong. It's about using creation itself to cage and crush, which proves that even in a world built on imagination, the worst magic is still control. And that's every forbidden spell we could pack into 20 minutes. Dark, deadly, and sometimes ridiculous. If you enjoyed this, stick around for the next one. And hey, subscribing wouldn't hurt.